we had a conversation via text that we gotta have verbally, digitally, face to face, right? So the homie Leon, who we've mentioned several times on the show, asked if LeBron James was a Hall of Fame passer, meaning if passing was, an attribute that you needed certain accolades and style and skill, whatever to do, would he be Hall of Fame level? And me and Randall disagreed on this. So I'm a pass it to you unless you want me to go first and
Well, we
say.
originally agreed because we both were like, yes. We both said yes.
No, I don't think you said yes.
Yeah, originally, that was the first thing. And I thought about it. I said, yes. Then I thought about it. I said, hold on. Before I jump out the building here, what are we defining as a Hall of Fame passer? And that's when our conversation started going back and forth. And I'll just answer it. Is he a Hall of Fame passer? And this is going to shock y'all. No, he's not. The more I think about it, no, he's not. Yes, I know he averages 7 assists a game, but all assists are not created equal. Yes, he has a highlight reel that you can span for 10 minutes, but that's not very hard to do when the guy's played for 22 years and he holds the ball for 90% of the time. He's gonna have some packages where is gonna look good. My criteria for Hall of Fame, a Hall of Fame passer. I think LeBron James passing helps his Hall of Fame career. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame passer because me personally, I don't think LeBron James makes anyone better when he passes the ball. And the truth is in the numbers. You give me a superstar that's played with LeBron, he's played with a few of them, that numbers have went up while playing with LeBron James. He doesn't make the game easy for them. In fact, all of their numbers have gone down. Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, Antoine Jamerson. I can go down the list of all-star Larry Hughes, guys that he's played with that had really good seasons prior or after. But while LeBron, they're not playing well. Well, that's because LeBron doesn't pass the ball and make the game easy. And I think Hall of Fame passers just make the game easy for everybody. And we're going to go back and forth on this, so I'll make it short.
Yeah, see, I just see it differently. I understand what you're saying, and I think there's credence to what you're saying. However, I'm a big proponent of result, right? So just a person's individual stats going up to me is not enough of a litmus test for me to say that points to whether or not a guy's a great passer or not. I think you have to look at how it affects the game and how it affects the results of the game. And all the guys that you name, plus several others that I can name, although their personal individual statistics took a decline playing with LeBron, their accolades as a player in regard to their team accomplishments grew. And I think that's ultimately what we talk about. When we talk about great passers, the likes of Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, all of these guys, Chris Paul, to a lesser degree. I'm saying to a lesser degree just because he's just not that accomplished. I'll even take Steve Nash off my list. You know what I'm saying? Because that maybe he doesn't apply. I'm saying when you talk about the likes of the greats, you typically associate winning with their passing ability. So like Magic, Isaiah, John Stockton. I mean, he didn't win a championship, but he went deep in the playoffs almost every single year of his career, and he went to 2 finals. More than we can say for a Chris Paul or a Steve Nash or someone like that. Jason Kidd. We looked at how his passing turned into wins. And that's the reason why we give so much reverence to it. So when I look at LeBron James, although he has way more responsibility on the court than any other player that I mentioned, when it comes to his passing, it leads to wins. And so that's my litmus test for those guys being better, because although their individual stats may not have improved, what they were able to accomplish in their careers absolutely improved. none of these guys went to, like, other than Kyrie Irving, none of these guys have gone to a finals after playing with LeBron. There's only two. It's Kyrie and KCP. That's it. Other than that, nobody else even sniffed.
But D Wade did it before. But we need to mention that D Wade won it before.
No, I understand that, but my point still stands. Even if I mention that D Wade won a championship in 2006 before LeBron James was even that guy in the league, that still doesn't change the fact that most of these guys never even sniffed the same heights in the NBA after playing with them. And a lot of these guys say that. So I think that has to be somewhere brought up in this argument above and beyond just individual stats.
Well, I'll say this. I think that when we look at passing, what is the ultimate goal of passing? Right? The ultimate goal of passing is to lead to a basket.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal of a basket, to make you pass the ball to lead to a basket, right? And to me, elite passers make the game easier for others. And let's say if LeBron James had played with one or two superstars in his career, right? Prior to or whatever. And their numbers were stagnant, I would say there's not enough of a sample size. LeBron's played with a lot of all-stars prior to.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't look quite as good when they play with him. And I understand that there is style of play that plays into that. But I look at LeBron like this. I don't think his passing leads to winning. I think LeBron James leads to winning, because if LeBron instead of averaging 28 and 7, if he averaged 35 and 4, he'd still be winning. He's just that he's that dude.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, just because if you look at the testimonials of the guys that did play with him, so like a Chris Bosh will tell you LeBron James made the game easy.
All these guys are dick riders, though. Like, we know this generation is dick riders. We don't.
Okay, but I'm just saying you can't
pause.
You can't ultimately not everybody that's played with LeBron James agrees with everything that he did. He definitely has detractors out there. So I'm just saying that the guys that played with them, that went to the finals a bunch of times or went to the Eastern Conference Finals or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys all say that he makes the game easier. So who am I to disagree with that? If I'm sure that these guys are good enough to know that their stats declined as well. Because
the reason I can disagree with them is really easy, because, like you mentioned, a guy like Chris Paul. Chris Paul had us out here thinking that Blake Griffin was a Hall of Famer.
Blake Griffin might be a Hall of Famer
because he played with Chris Paul. We literally thought DeAndre Jordan was an all-star. He had Matt Morris looking like he was a top tier wing out there, and you can't deny these things. We thought Matt could really. No disrespect to Matt, I love Matt, but Matt wasn't a top tier wing. But when he played with Chris, you were like, maybe he is. He's like, maybe he is.
Yeah, but he had to get the Kobe to win a ring.
1,000%. But that's a different argument. That's a different argument for a different day. Like, I don't equate winning to an individual stat, because it takes more than just one player. If you look at a guy like Steve Nash and Chris Paul, those are the two, right? They didn't really have teams to win. Like, especially Chris Paul. Chris Paul didn't have a team to win. Nash is a little different.
That's a different argument for another day.
I mean, when your third best player is DeAndre Jordan, you're probably not built to win. You're probably not built to win.
I'm not talking about the Clipper team. I mean, we could talk about that, but we should also talk about that Rockets team.
You know what? That team was good enough to win, but I think that team was so imbalanced and so imperfect that I don't put that on anybody who's in that roster. I just felt like, hey, look, it could work, but you know what I'm saying? You do need a balance of a roster to win in the NBA. You can't just have a bunch of names.
I just don't think Chris Paul's is built for winning.
Well, little guards are always going to be hard to win. We've only seen Zeke do it. You know what I'm saying? We've only seen Zeke as a little guard lead his team to a championship in the last 20, 30 years.
What about Wardell?
Point guard. I should say point guard.
Wardell.